Hello. Welcome to your Human Design Coach podcast with me, Ashley Watkins. Here we are really all about the application of human design. So, looking at different parts of the design and what does it look like in life through discussion, through coaching questions, through all the things. Your quote for today is, "Don't always consider all your options. Don't necessarily go for the outcome that seems best every time. Make a mess on occasion. Travel light. Let things wait. Trust your instincts and don't think too long. Relax. Toss a coin. Forgive, but don't forget. To thine own self be true." And that comes from the book Algorithms to Live By, which admittedly, I did not finish. It was a little out of my depth, but I might revisit it. But I did, like, even just in the first couple chapters that I read, I did find some nuggets that really sparked me, and I really liked that quote. Got to keep it real. Before we get into our episode today, which is going to be another Ask Ashley episode, I'm really excited about. We're kind of on a love theme today. Valentine's Day is coming up. I want to talk just about a couple things that have happened since I saw you last. I actually recorded the last two episodes of this kind of back to back, and so I haven't been recording for a little bit. And it's been a fun time around these parts. The first thing I want to just touch on briefly is an experience I had. It'll be, I think, 2 weekends ago once this comes out. There's a coach training program called Academy for Coaching Excellence. And I'm currently a certified ACC coach through the International Coaching Federation. And I'm renewing my ACC and looking towards my PCC, basically PCC in the next few years. So learned about the Academy for Coaching Excellence and was really drawn to it. Before you can do their coach training program, they require you to take these two foundational courses. And so 2 weekends ago, I took Foundations 1, which is called Mastering Your Life. No big deal. It was really transformative and wonderful. First of all, it was 4 days, like 9-hour days. We did have breaks in there on Zoom. So I was wondering how that would feel as someone who teaches a lot on Zoom, and it's sometimes hard to make community. But that felt so great. And they do this exercise through this Mastering Your Life course. This might be kind of the big draw of it for some, is you get to find out what's called your basic assumption, which is sort of this script, like a line that's been running in your head for a long time. And the idea that they say is once you see it, then you never have to be it. And there's a lot of support in the course of like the monkey mind and recognizing we're not our thoughts. So it's way more complex than what I'm telling you now, but I just want to share this quick takeaway. So through this basic assumption exercise, I went through, and again, community was really important because you're being coached on this, and that's pretty vulnerable. But through the coaching, the basic assumption that I was able to realize was mine was something is wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. And that may sound harsh, but if you have an inner critic or you have ever dealt with imposter syndrome, you probably can, maybe feel that could be something that's running in your head. And it's only been, right now when I record this, it's only been a few days since I went through the course. So I'm not going to lie and say that, I'm integrated at all, but I see the possibility of once I see that, I no longer have to be that, which takes me to something else really fun and exciting that's happened since the last time I saw you, which is I got to present about human design to a local Wichita, Kansas women's leadership group called The Thread. They have a very robust alumna group, and I was fortunate enough to meet with the leaders of the Thread and talk them through their human design. We did a team reading where we kind of looked at how the energy that they bring to their interactions with their own unique charts. And then I was able to be on their podcast, which was really fun. So this all led to presenting to their alum at this meeting. This is really the second time I've done a workshop like this, and I'm still learning because I think I've mentioned here there's so much that I'm excited about with human design, but as the more I coach around it and the more I study it, I realize, yes, the knowledge is important, but the application and how it is going to show up in your life is the key to integration, right? Because otherwise, I know as a teacher, if I just throw a bunch of information at you and I don't give you time to kind of think about what it means for you, then it probably won't stick, at least not stick as well. So as I was preparing, I really was trying to think about the balance of that. And I would say that the day was wonderful, wonderful group, really good energy, had tons of fun talking about it. But as I got home and kind of settled into obviously, it was 50 women, I was excited and on a kind of a high. And when I came home and all that adrenaline sort of settled, I was like, okay, how did this go? And it was really interesting to have done this basic assumption work of something's wrong with me, of I should have said this. And oh, look at this feedback where this person they were confused. And you said too much and you didn't give them enough time to discuss and all this stuff. Like you got too caught up in your own voice. All the lovely things that we say in our head. What was cool here is, first of all, I have this basic assumption work and I'm able to immediately recognize. And the tool that they gave us in that workshop was we make conclusions and we look for evidence to support those conclusions. So if my conclusion is something's wrong with me, how can I observe that? And then what's the new conclusion? And what's the evidence that I can get once I've observed, kind of given myself compassion, like, oh, brain, it's okay, buddy. It's okay, honey. You don't have to do all that hard work of the chatter. And then what's the new conclusion? And then where's the evidence? So the basic one for me that I'm kind of playing with is there's nothing wrong with me. Doesn't mean we don't grow and work and change, but what can you look for that supports that, to be gentle with yourself? And then how do you take the feedback and things and not make it about there's something wrong with me, but just next time I'm going to talk less. Next time I want to include more spaciousness for discussion. And then what's cool is that I'm really playing in, just again, in the very early stages of then that basic assumption in human design. So part of how I was able to sort of explore a different conclusion rather than something's wrong with me is by looking at the things I know about my design. Number one, the open emotional center. I know I'm very sensitive to emotions. And I know that at the end of that workshop and throughout that workshop, I felt really positive. And also that gut authority of, how did it go? It went great. And then the open head and the mind comes in and wants to ruminate and think and dissect and pick it apart. And so I would say both those things were really helpful in just the gentleness. And one other thing I'll say about the basic assumption is it typically comes in when we're at kind of breaking through towards a goal. And it's sort of like being able to push past it and find new conclusions is where we're able to get through and be brave. Or sometimes maybe we don't. And so I also would just want to recognize myself for being able to do the work, because in a time not that long ago, it would have consumed me of there's something wrong with me. So I say all that to say, human design does not live in a vacuum. I love a self-improvement, personal development tool, self-awareness tool, all the things I love. And all of those are shaping me and continue to shape me in this journey of life. But, it's been interesting, two of the ones that are at the forefront for me and seeing how those play together to empower me. Because I love empowering others, but you can't fill from an empty cup. So it felt really good to kind of coach myself through that with those tools. Okay, now that I've bared my soul to you, welcome again. So we are in another Ask Ashley episode. So excited for this. So just a reminder on these Ask Ashley episodes. So this is going to be a write-in question, and we're not giving advice, but we are sharing some information about this person's design with them, as well as giving them some questions for reflection and then some possible ideas for action of maybe going forward, there's alignment that needs to happen with the authority or whatever that is. All right. Our question today comes from D. I have a friend who is interested in more than friendship. She is smart and attractive and thinks the world of me. She truly knows me better than most people and has helped me through some tough challenges and situations. Something is holding me back from committing to her, but I'm not sure what. She sometimes gets clingy and is pressuring me to make a choice, and I think that's part of it. I also worry about what my friends and family think of her. I can't help but feel like I'm making a mistake if I don't stay with her. How do I figure out if this is what I truly want? And D is a 3-5 sacral manifesting generator. Okay, thank you so much, D, for that question. And again, we're spotlighting this one because when this comes out, it'll be a couple days before Valentine's Day, which is my favorite non-Christmas holiday and really has nothing to do with romance. My husband and I really don't ever do anything on Valentine's Day, but I love all the little like corny things, right? Like obviously I was in school, I taught for 20 years. So Valentine's, the boxes and making like the little personalized Valentines and getting the teacher Valentine was such a kick for me. I remember the first time I got the bigger teacher Valentine that's in the box. All the candy and just all the colors and everything. It's one of my faves. So I was excited to kind of spotlight this question about relationship. So the first thing I would want to look at with D is that he has a single definition. And I don't think we haven't really talked about definition. So our definition is really about how we process information. Those with the single definition may have a more kind of consistent flow of energy within them. And this is associated with processing information pretty quickly and easily, being able to really like take in the information and then integrate it in the moment, and also being content in their own energy. So they process things well on their own. How this plays in with the authority, which we'll talk about next, when it comes to decisions, there may be a benefit to them being alone to make that decision, as opposed to sort of taking on others' opinions. So that makes me kind of think of I worry about what my friends and family think of her. So that might be a question, is when you're making the decision, are you giving yourself space to be alone, to kind of sit with it if it's not coming to you? If you're not getting that gut response, maybe there's some benefit to being alone with, asking yourself the question and seeing what comes up with that gut. Some challenges for those with the single definition is having not enough space to be in their own flow. If they're always expected to be with others, if their days are filled with a lot of interactions, sometimes others can take this independence of those with the single definition, take it personally, and then they become needy. Or as Dee says, she sometimes gets clingy and is pressuring me to make a choice. So that makes me wonder of what could be gained from expressing that to her, of sharing your thoughts about how you feel when there is that pressure, or letting her know that, I'm not going to really probably respond that well to that pressure. In relationships, the single definition is not looking to be completed. It's no, you complete me. What does my heart look like? You complete me. That's not it. Are you supposed to do it like, dear God? No. Okay. It's not like you complete me. You complete me. Making a heart for those who can't see me. They want to be around people who just make things better, that they have fun with. So if we're not looking to be completed and we just want someone around that makes things better, I'm kind of looking back at the question, she's smart, she's attractive, she thinks the world of me. That's really nice. She's helped me through tough challenges. She knows me really well. What does it feel like to be with her? What do you enjoy about her? Just because you didn't mention it in the question doesn't mean it's not true, because it's not really about, it's great that she's helped you through challenges and situations, but, is that really what is top of your list for a partner? That might be something to think about. So the question and maybe the challenge here for the single definition is, if the relationship doesn't feel right, is it time to move on to the next, or move on to the single time, or do you want to work on it? And sometimes that can feel like pressure too. Again, you have the sacral, that trust your gut authority. Can you ask yourself a yes or no question, or maybe have somebody you trust ask you that question? Do you want to move on? Yes or no? Do you want to work on it? Yes or no? And what comes up? So again, if you do go forward and you're looking to communicate with her about maybe what you need and don't need as the single definition, having a conversation about your independence is important to you. It's not personal. It's not like I don't want to be with you. It's like I need my alone time. My husband has this definition. And early on our relationship, it was a source of contention a little bit just because he would sort of make these plans and do things, and he'd be doing them, and I didn't have a problem with that. But based on his past experiences, he would say, "Oh, I'll be over in, 2 hours." And then 2 hours would go by and more time would go by, and I'm texting him saying, "Hey, what's up?" And he's not answering me because he's scared I'm going to get mad at him. And we had a really good conversation. It led to a good conversation of saying, "I'm not mad if you want to spend all night with your friends. You should do that. I have my friends too, but you don't need to say what you aren't going to do." And I think that was important for him to hear and really gave him some space and freedom around that. So communication, I mean, duh. Communication's key to relationships. But I think I appreciate that about human design is that it can give us language to be able to say things about ourselves that maybe we don't know how to say otherwise. So another question as you're considering this relationship through the lens of your single definition is, if you think about committing to this person, do you feel like you have space to be independent and in your own flow, or would they be open to giving you that space? Do you feel like they honor your independence? All right. And then the other thing that jumped to mind is the sacral authority. So we've mentioned it already, but that is the ability to make decisions in the moment based on the gut feeling. These people have that capacity for instant clarity. When you find yourself lost in the mind, when you find yourself rationalizing, this person thinks the world of me. She is so smart and attractive. What will people think if I'm with her? It's a sign that you may have disconnected from the gut. If you aren't used to listening to the gut, or if that's not you where you usually find yourself making decisions, something maybe to start with is practicing with it. So even just things like, what do you want, tacos for dinner? Do you want pizza? Do you feel like watching a funny movie tonight or a scary movie? Things like that. So you can feel like, what does that feel like for you when the gut goes yes or no? Is it like I always lean in when I talk about my gut. Sometimes it also is like butterflies for me, or a sinking sensation when it's a no. It could be, feeling your energy rise, or being, hearing it in your voice of when you say yes, it's like yes, versus the no is like kind of hard to say. The no could be a knot in the stomach or a sigh, things like that. There's nothing wrong with, you know, facts and figures and data and thoughts. But with something like this, I wonder if you kind of already know. But if you don't, pulling yourself back from all the rationalization and the thoughts and the asking everyone for advice and thinking about everybody else and connecting with yourself. I think we've kind of talked about some next steps, but let's just summarize. Both for your single definition and for your gut, I think carving out some space for yourself to be in your own flow seems like it could be helpful if that's not already there. And if it is already there, how can you bring this to that and kind of lean into your own wisdom? Communication came up. So whatever, you decide to do, obviously you're going to be communicating, but if you're going forward with this person and you're communicating, how can you give them that information about your single definition? How can you ask them to support that piece of you, to honor your independence, and knowing that if they can and they do, it's just going to make, things stronger. So I think those are some pieces. I would love to hear how this resonates with you. So please feel free to let me know. And listeners, always looking for your feedback. So let us know what you think. As always, if you have not generated your human design chart, you can do that at humandesignblueprint.com. If you have a question for a future Ask Ashley episode, send those to ashleywatkinscoaching@gmail.com. And I will put information in the show notes about that ACE Coaching Foundations program and anything else that comes to mind. It's just what's coming to mind. Like, what are we thinking about? And we just spew it out on the podcast. Okay, another fun one. Happy Valentine's Day if that's your thing. If not, it'll be over soon. And I look forward to the next time. Have a great day.